Hello, hello. So today in the mail, um, got a really um, exciting, exciting package in the mail. Um, what arrived in the mail is I guess what you would call a DLC. Before they had downloadable content, this would be a DLC for Microsoft Train Simulator, which originally came out in 2001. So Pro Train 16 is an add-on, that's what they called it back then, and it arrived today, and it's truly a CD, and I'm so glad that my computer actually still has a CD drive. So I was able to plug it in, and I'm super excited about this specific add-on, Pro Train 16. I had to purchase this on Amazon Germany and have it forwarded to Seattle to get it here. So this is a Black Forest train add-on. And what's particularly exciting for me about this is that it includes a train that I was riding, like a streetcar, like a tram, like a I don't know how you call this in English, but like a streetcar, particularly that drove through my neighborhood when I was a kid, and I drove this a lot. I fantasized about driving this myself back in the day. I wanted to be a train driver, particularly a train, like a tram streetcar driver. So finally, I will be able to drive that particular Black Forest route. So this is the package. They don't sell that anymore. I guess, like, it came from a third-party seller, but actually sealed though, was still in the original packaging, which was great. It's an add-on for Microsoft Train Simulator, so I have that running, and we will be driving this particular streetcar, which really, like, this is exactly how I remember it. This is how I grew up back in Karlsruhe, driving as a passenger, driving this particular car. What we're actually going to drive is the next version of this particular car, which is this train car. So it's built by Duwag and Siemens, the GT8 100D 2SM. This particular system is really interesting because they built this streetcar to run on city tracks as well as you could say like national tracks, like intercity transit. So back in the first original version of this, the train tracks in Karlsruhe for the city tram have the same what do you call that, gauge that the big trains run, but the electricity is different. So you have 750 volts for the city, and you have 15,000 volts for the international, like, or intercity tram, like the big trains. So this particular system has been really successful because they were able to transfer this train from the inner city traffic all the way to the big intercity traffic, intercity rails. So trains were able to go back and forth on these systems, which is really exciting. So it allowed people from the countryside to drive right into the city of Karlsruhe. They since expanded this to many different lines. This particular line that I want to drive today is not using this particular system. It's still only 750 volts intercity, like intra-city rail traffic, or rail electricity. So it's not particularly used for that thing. This add-on though includes tracks or traffic that would go and use this system. So what we're getting here, let me see if I can change the Wait. Yeah, it's running in a lower resolution than I would think, and I see that OBS doesn't really like that. Let me see. Problem is that the application will lose its focus once I click into OBS, so it'll disappear. That's kind of unfortunate, so I can't really try running OBS and fix the... Sorry, run the game and actually fix the scaling. It's full screen on my screen here, but in OBS it shows up like you see it right now on the stream, so that's kind of unfortunate. I haven't tried that before, so I really wanted to play this the first time while on stream. That was the plan, but it doesn't really work this way. So let me see what I can do. I will stop the stream for a moment and then come back, see if I can change the settings on this. So let's just come back in a couple minutes. Well, I guess the game is so old that it doesn't really let itself capture, like, I guess I can try resizing the frame, like literally just do a screen capture. The problem is that I don't see, like, the game will disappear when I multitask. So let's try this again. Let's try display capture. And let's see if I just crazily scale this up. I mean, the game is running in 4:3 anyways. I can't run it. I can't have it run in 16:9. Oh, this is close. Okay. Okay, I'm close. This is nice. Okay. Let me see. Just a little bit more scaling. Yeah. Webcam is a good point. Ah, almost. I think I got it. That's great. I'm just gonna scale this frame up like crazy. I think that I'm not sure what the quality will be, if you're still going to see the same pixels that I see. Getting there. One more time. It's funny though, when the game is running, the frame actually shows with the final size. Boom, boom, boom. I think that's good. Let's try it this way. There we are. Boom. And here we are. Great. So this game runs at the highest resolution you can go with this one is 1280 by 1024. That's what I'm running right now. Best graphic settings. Don't really have a frame display. Like I can see, I think I could turn on an FPS counter later, so we can see how this is running. But this works pretty well, at least here in the preview, for me. So as I said, today in the mail, got this nice DLC for Train Simulator, Microsoft Train Simulator. This DLC coming as a actual real DVD, or what is it? This is a CD. I think this came out in 2006, probably. So this is the train that I was riding on as a kid, and I always wanted to drive one of these myself. So as I said at the beginning, this is a particular train system that's kind of nice, because this train system, or this particular train that we're running, this GT8 100D 2SM, is actually capable of running on both, like two kind of electricities, and so that's necessary for this train, this streetcar, to run inside the city and also to run outside the city. So for the first time, and this was a world first, that you could have a streetcar running the same kind of tracks, the same gauge inside the city, but at 750 volts, to go on the big trains tracks running at 15,000 volts. So there's a system at the top of the train that allows that basically to switch over to. It's also like one is, I'm not sure what the English word is, like AC and DC. Like it's just different, very different electricity. But this train is capable of using them both. Though the particular track that we're running today does not need that. So here's the map of the game. This route here from Karlsruhe all the way down to Ettlingen, and then going into the nice Black Forest route here of Bad Herrenalb, is where this train is running. Bigger trains, like the big train tracks for the intercity trains, were running between Karlsruhe, Rastatt, and Freudenstadt, which also, again, particularly this particular tram can also serve. So that's really nice. That was really nice about this edition when they added that in 2000. Like I think they built the first version of this particular streetcar in 1997, and it was a huge deal. So that's great. Let's just gonna explore this route. So let's not run anything. And I haven't done this before. This is the first time I'm running Train Simulator, and this is the first time I'm running this particular DLC. So let's see what's going. It's actually pretty nice. The little manual that they include in this package in the DVD actually includes like a train schedule. Not really a schedule though, as much as it doesn't show like it's not really a train table, but this is what they actually have in the cabin for the driver. It actually tells you about the distances between stations and what the allowed, it's all in German, so I have to translate it at the same time, what the allowed top speed is on that particular segment. I think we have some help of that as well while we're running the route, but it's really exciting for me to see that and use that, because I always, I was always sitting in the back of the cab, like it's all windows behind him, and I was always looking over his shoulder while he was driving. and it's pretty exciting for me to try this now for myself. So I always knew what these things were, and sometimes I got my hands on an old copy of something that they didn't use before, but they included this for all the different tracks that they have in the little manual, which is really nice. So let's start at Karlsruhe Hauptbahnhof, which is exactly where I lived. So let's go back to the map. We're going to start up here in Karlsruhe. It's right next to the main train station. We go all the way down to Ettlingen and then take the track down to Bad Herrenalb. It should take us about half an hour, if I remember this correctly. And this is exactly, especially the first few stations, is exactly, as a kid I've run these up and down all the time to get to school, to get to the public pool in my neighborhood. That's pretty exciting. I'm going to be really excited how they mapped the track. So there's a couple scenarios we could run, but we're gonna just take one where we can take our own time and don't get thrown out if we do something wrong. So I think this is all set up correctly. We have a two train system, so it's 2 trains running. So let's go ahead and drive this train. It's gonna be big for me. Uh-oh, it's switching resolutions again. Oh no! Really? It's a higher resolution, at least the loading screen is bigger. And it's still loading, so you don't see that right now, it's getting cut off. It's loading at the bottom. It's establishing world space. There we are. Okay, everything is cut off a little bit. So let's by how much? Not much. Let's see. Gonna have to just scale this back real quick again. That's a little bit annoying. I guess you just, if you really want to stream this professionally, you really have to create all the different scenes and just switch between them. But let's see. Nope. Still not. Wonder now if it's actually capturing the whole screen. That would be annoying. I have to scale it all the way back. Oh, I think it looks like it. Let me try that. Let me just get back to the full screen. Get the full screen back into view. And it looks like that's it. Okay. So I have it in a second. Well, this is really annoying. So it's a little bit, I have to scale it just a little bit, but this should be doing it. Yep, that's almost, this is good enough. This is good enough. And let's get into it. So, we are at Karlsruhe Hauptbahnhof, getting ready for the train. So again, this is the first time I'm running Microsoft Train Simulator. I think they're all kind of the same, like the newer ones. They use similar keyboard configurations. Let me see. Can I look around? This one. I can look to the left a little bit. Can look out to the front, out to the back. Nice. Okay, so this is Hauptbahnhof. The graphics are a little bit bare compared to what you would see today. Though we're also, are we set up on the right track though? Like we'll look like, wait, I'm gonna get back to my cabin. Where are we? There we are. Okay, we are. Yeah, this is the right track. So we want to go left. To the right actually is where the train would then switch over to 15 kilovolts up to the big, the large train tracks that are up there. The same gauge, but different electricity. So we're driving to the left through this underpass here, and then we're on our way to Ettlingen, passing by our first station called Dammerstock, which is where I got onto the train all the time, where I grew up, the exact neighborhood right next to it. So let's see if we can look at the different camera angle. Okay, this is nice. Can I turn the camera? Okay, it's the arrow key. So here's Hauptbahnhof, which is really nice. Like it's a really nice train station. pretty modern. So back here is Karlsruhe. Behind us, we're going to leave Karlsruhe, the city, and make our way up to into the Black Forest. So we're looking at different camera angles. Oh, this is nice. This is the interior. It's the specific coloring that the Karlsruhe city traffic company used. So I remember this quite well. Spent lots of time. Again, if I could look, can I can't possibly walk through this, right? No, I can't. This is just a fixed camera angle. So like I was sitting here all the time, practically looking over the shoulder of the train driver, seeing what they were doing. So these are different cameras. I'm just switching through them right now. So I think this is just the cab. I can't really look around here. So most importantly, we want to do something like being able to open the doors. Can I click into these buttons? Not really. I can turn headlights on. Let's do that. Headlights full. You don't need the horn right now. Let's just try that. Nice. Nice. Works really well. I think it's spacebar 2. Yeah, that's the horn. Not as much as a horn, but actually a bell. What do we have here? This bell. That's the horn. Okay, let's get going. We already tried enough. So what's really nice about this particular setup too, in compared to other big trains, is that you have this particular let me just bump up the volume on the game. Let's see. I hope my voice is still separated enough, but we hear a little bit of the engine sound right now, and we will hear. Let me use the bell again. Good. We have the track monitor here, which is telling us a little bit what's coming up ahead. So we have a limit of 160 kilometers per hour, which is crazy. We will never run this quick on this particular track. And let me see. There should be a couple of other monitors, but I don't know how we turn them on. Oh, here's like the F keys. So these are stations. Some overlays. Okay, here's the track monitor, controls and gauges. Okay, let's see, F7, 8. Okay, the next switch. We won't switch switches, I guess. Don't need that. This is, we don't want to uncouple anything. That's good. The next station. I guess we don't have a train table right now because we said we'll just explore the track. So we don't really have a train table right now. We're just going to drive around a little bit, and F12 is hiding all this stuff. So let's get the track monitor back. That's pretty good. So usually this works. We already put the reverser into forward, so we want to go forward. Of course, we could also just drive backwards illegally from the front cabin, but let's put the reverser into forward, and let's apply a little bit of power to go forward. And nothing is happening. There's some more brake that we have to lose, I guess. Is there like a... Okay, reverser, we're in forward. Combined power doesn't do anything yet. I wonder if we need to get the... Do we have... Oh, I can go. Oh, cool. I can walk. At least I can... Okay, we don't have any electricity yet, so here's the key that I see in the manual. If we hit the key P... There we are. Nice. Now we should get some electricity into the train once the... Yeah, there's an English word for these things. That sounds pretty interesting. I know that these are called Stromabnehmer in German, but there's like... Now we should have electricity in the train. And we turned on the headlights. They are running. Let's go back into the cabin. Let's see if we can do something now. So let's take the combined power handle, put it forward. Electro grabbers? Probably. Probably not. There we are! We're running. Nice. Alright. This is great. So, what's nice about the combined power handle in these particular trains is that it's a simple, you see this little handle on here, it's just really simple control where you combine power and brakes into one control. So you basically just tell it whether it should go forward, just coast, or whether it should go apply the brakes. Usually in a big train you have separate controls for these. You have different brakes for different kinds of uses, but this one is pretty easy to drive. Particularly nice for a streetcar. So we're going over a bridge now. This is the bridge that goes over the interstate, which we see here below, and we are on our way to our first station called Dammerstock. And still not sure how I can like tilt down for a different view. My mouse isn't doing anything. That's anyhow, let's go back inside. Down here is Dammerstock, so let's go and apply a little bit of brakes. So we pull the combined power handle backwards. Oh, we're way too fast. Oh, now we're doing an emergency brake. Emergency braking, which nice. That worked pretty well. Haha. Applying an emergency brake. So we're still not fully. We're still blocking traffic back there. So we're in Dammerstock right now. Let me see. Can I pull forward a little bit? Yeah. Let's just clear the traffic back there. And let's brake here. There we are. That looks nice. Usually there should be markings on the road, sorry, on the track to tell me where I should stop. This is perfect. Wait. Stop. Okay, this is pretty perfect. Can I open doors? Is there something like that? Can I do that? It would be pretty nice to let people in and out, right? But it doesn't say that. There's no keyboard shortcut for that. So, guess we have to keep people inside. So we're pretty good spot back here. And let's continue forward. So this is, I remember this station, this is where I got in. This was my exit to walk home. The next station is called Rippur Schloss. It's the castle that we didn't have in our neighborhood, but it's called Rippur Schloss. And that's where we all went to go to the pool. Which is funny, right? It's just like the station is down there. I can see it right now. It's just down the line. But sometimes as a kid, you just take the train. They run every 10 minutes, so whenever you hear them coming down, you just jump on them. If you want to get to the pool, you can shortcut by just taking it to the next station. I mean, the graphics are pretty good in terms of detail, like just how they map how they detail out the stations. That's pretty nice. This is perfect. Awesome. Let's put it back to 0, back to idle. Let's wait for a couple of minutes. This is pretty good. There's an overpass for this station. It's pretty nice. The graphics are really, I mean, this game is now 20 years old. I think the graphics are okay. They particularly focused on the details on the track. Obviously, they got the signals right. They got the particulars of the train system right. But part of that, like some of the buildings are pretty simple, but it works. It's pretty nice. I like how they focus on the detail of the train cab, making sure it's all realistic and how it was actually built. So I remember as a kid, I built a panel like this. Like out of wood and with markers, I built like a panel like this, and I had kind of like, I put a stick, like I put like a pen between two tables to simulate that kind of throttle that we're using here right now. And I was just pretty crazy about this. I had a timetable next to me, and I actually just imagined I would drive a train that's currently running. So I used the timetable to actually run the train at the time, and I had a tape with all the station announcements that run inside the train, and I always did the announcements in time, and I was kind of like imagining I was going the 2 minutes it takes to the next station as a kid, and I was pretty dorky, but I spent afternoons just in my own kind of like train cab that I built myself. I just practically painted a panel of wood and put it in front of a chair, and that's all I did. So that was a lot of fun. And then actually at some time I remember I built a train simulator with my dad. That was our first project we did together. In back in the days, it was we programmed in Pascal using Delphi. So we did program a train simulator, but it was mostly focused on a timetable. So you practically just you focused on actually driving and accelerating and braking a train to hit the different stations. So it was just a graphic representation, kind of like what you see here with the track monitor. And we built that for Windows, and I used a joystick to kind of simulate this combined power handle. That was a lot of fun. We didn't do any graphics. We practically inserted the whole timetable as a big Excel spreadsheet into the game, so we could realistically simulate these timetables that I back in my own room played with this wooden cabin that I built. That was a lot of fun. So we eventually then built some graphics into it, but it always the track was just going straight, and we were just scaling images of trees and things to kind of simulate progress. So we really just focused on the physics of making sure a train stops on time, and that you don't miss a stop. I mean, as a kid, I mean, that was just a lot of fun anyways. So it's a little bit weird to just drive this with the keyboard. There's certainly input devices you can buy. There's one that is particularly built for train simulators that actually has a power handle you can use to go, but that costs like $250. So if you're really serious about train simulating, you would want to use something like that. So we're over the limit now. We're 10 kilometers faster than we should be going. So let's... Well, this is actually pretty well. Like, awesome. The braking is pretty instant. This is pretty good. These trains are not super heavy, pretty easy to drive. And again, with that combined power handle, you just say whether it should go forward or whether it should apply brakes, and it just stops by itself. Super easy. We're now in... This station is called Bachstrasse. This is the last stop usually where you have to buy a another ticket. So we're entering zone number 2 at this point. And I remember specifically, because the next station is just a couple of minutes away, that like we're kind of like 2 minutes between each stop that we had before, and the next stop now is kind of like 5 or 7 minutes away from where we are currently. And we're entering the next city called Ettlingen. Passing over another interstate with this. Let's see. Speed limit is 50. We're currently going 80. I guess there's no penalty right now. Let's go down. Now we're at 53, 51. This is good. This should be doable. So like now we're just coasting along here, getting to the next station. Let's see. Oh, I get some nice sound effects here too. They really got the train really right. Like the train details are pretty nice. The coloring is exactly how it is. Exactly the branding. You see obviously the track is pretty simple. Let's see. I really want to tilt this camera. I wonder if there's like a way for me to... Oh, there we go. It's control. There we go. Nice. So, oh, this is interesting. Actually, this stop here that we're just swooshing through, that's fine because this is a conditional halt. This we will only stop at this if actually someone pressed the button that they want to stop and get off the train. So we don't have to stop here. This is great. Oh, I like this angle a lot. This is great. So let's go. Let's go around this train a little bit. Let's look at the scenery. That's really nice. Now we're entering into. So we passed through Ettlingen, Neuwiesen, Reben, which is the temporary of the conditional halt, which we don't have to stop if nobody wants to get off. And we're entering the next stop, which is a stop we have to stop on, and that's Ettlingen-Basen. We're over speed again. And we're gonna brake right here, then we're gonna make it. Will this be a good stop? Nice. I mean, we're way too long anyways. Like, it shouldn't be... These trains shouldn't be running the service with two trains. See, like, if I can get the camera to show me the end of it. This is the coupling view. Inside. Well, like, I think we're just like a little bit too long. I can't really move the camera to the back and show and see, but I think this train is just generally too long for these stations. Well, no, actually not. It's perfectly, it just fits right in. There we are. It's exactly, I mean, we kind of like hit the perfect spot to stop. I would think that there should be like a line. Usually they just paint one of these bricks, they paint white as an indicator for the driver where to stop in order to make the perfect landing. So, but we did that without the indicator. That's great. There's also no indicator here that I see in the cabin when you need to stop. Usually there's this button here, I think it's this one. This particular light will light up when someone indicates that they want to get off at the next stop. That's not happening here. I cannot open doors, which I'm sure you should be able to open doors. Well, I guess it's not built for tram service really, Microsoft Train Simulator, but I should find out if we could open doors. Next stop is Ettlingen-Erbprinz. So it's like there's actually a real castle. I wonder if they mapped it out. There's a really nice castle in this city here called Ettlingen. I wonder if we're gonna see that on the map somewhere. Let's see if we can tilt the camera maybe. Oh, let's just go through the station. But yeah, like back here, let's see if you're gonna see this. It's pretty nice. There's a lot of nice houses here in Ettlingen. Let's go forward a little bit faster. Let's see. I wonder why am I fixed to the last... Anyhow, we're passing into the city of Ettlingen, which is practically a big terminal stop too for trains that end in Ettlingen. There's a service station here, and back here should be the castle or some historic building, but well, you can tell it's a pretty nice place to be, Ettlingen, and it's practically the last big city. Not really a big city, but just the last big place. Okay, this is pretty bad. We just stopped right through the station, but this is also a pretty nice terminal station. There's some servicing going on because now we're entering a historic part of the railway service, the railway service, all the way to Bad Herrenalp, the train, our final stop in the Black Forest area. So we have like 20 more minutes to go to get there, maybe even more. But that was used with steam locomotives back in the day, and it was serviced not by trams, but by actual big trains. So that's kind of like what we're looking at here is the station that would service those big trains to go into the Black Forest. But now we just have these electric trains to really service that area. So we're also entering a different rule set in terms of speed and using the horn. For example, now that we're out of the city, we will sound the horn whenever there's a crossing. There's a lot of passenger or I guess pedestrian crossings along the way from here on out to Bad Herrenalp, and we usually sound the horn when we pass those. So I will be excited to see if we have those signs. There's usually a sign to sound the horn as an indicator for me that I should sound the horn when I approach this crosswalk. So let's just go slowly past these service halls here in Ettlingen. It's pretty nice. I want to have the camera be fixed to the first. Oh, this is a nice camera to have. What's that, number 4? Nice. Okay, so now we're passing through Ettlingen, or we're leaving Ettlingen and making our way all the way down into the Black Forest. Doesn't go up very much. We still go along a river, but it's a pretty scenic route, really. So we're limited here to 50 kilometers per hour, and we're running 43 right now. Let's look out to the front. Tennis courts coming up, and you already see there's some hills back there that we now gonna wind through the hills to make our way all the way to Bad Herrenalp. So our next station is Alpgaubad. I wonder if we already passed. I think we already passed Alpgaubad. So the next station is actually called Busenbach. No, Ettlingen Spinnerei. Okay, so it goes for a little bit, and then the next station's coming up. So I think the sounds, though, I'm not particularly... I think the sounds are not particularly accurate. This sounds just like a generic train sound, but there's a specific sound, of course, to electric. Just the way that electric rail cars sound when you speed and brake, and I don't really hear that high-pitched noise. So it just sounds like a generic train sound, which is a little bit... I mean, it's an add-on specifically made for a particular train type. There's also some things that they just couldn't realize in this add-on. So, for example, these train cars, they do have a system that checks that makes sure that the train driver is always awake. So every couple seconds you would have to press a button. So it's practically actually built into the handle. So you have your hand on the handle to the throttle. As long as you have your hand on the throttle, everything is good. But if you take your hand off, a countdown timer will run, and after a couple seconds it will prompt you to keep your hand on it again, just to make sure that you're still awake. If you don't respond for 7 seconds, I think, then you would get a emergency brake. So in case that I would be incapacitated as the train driver, the train would stop by itself after a couple seconds. That's usually, there's a sound happening, a beeping sound that's prompting me to put my hand on the handle again. But that they couldn't do that. See, like I should keep the brakes applied because we're now on a hill, so we just coasted backwards. So let me just keep the brakes applied. It's a good idea. So they weren't able to do the particular uh, check if the driver is still awake, as well as any kind of signaling, pre-signaling. There's usually a cable that runs on the tracks for these particular systems, where the train would know what kind of signal is coming out ahead, and would also make decisions about braking in time if I wouldn't make it through the next signal or stop in front of the next signal. So those particular features are just not available in Microsoft Train Simulator, so they weren't able to replicate these things right here. So that's fine. So the next stop is hilarious. As a kid, whenever we drove there, because the station is called Buzenbach, which means kind of like Boob Creek. So that's hilarious when you're 15. And every time that came through, the announcement in the train, that was always worth a giggle, to stop in Buzenbach in Boob Creek. So here, here's that station, and really, these are really gorgeous stations. They really did a good job replicating those. This is also a station where the tracks then would separate. There's another track that goes all the way to a different little village in the Black Forest called Ittersbach, but we will go ahead and drive to Bad Herrenalp. So here's the part where you see an H. This is where we should stop, and we missed it. Let's just do an emergency braking. So there was a little sign you saw that said that was an H shape. That means halt in German. So that will be the place where we should have stopped, but we did miss that by a couple of meters. Not a big deal, but we still are in a good place to let people in and out of the train. I should find out. I would really want to open those doors just for added realism. Should find out if there's a keyboard shortcut for that. So let's just continue going forward, getting away from Boob Creek to the next station called Etzenrot. You also see here's the number coming up. This number says 5. This tells me that I can go 50 kilometers in this part of the track. So these numbers, this is the same system they use also everywhere else in Germany, that would indicate the speed of that particular section of the track. So 50 kilometers per hour. We're a little bit over that. Oh, there's a cow. Hello. And we're now too slow. Let's go up to 50 again. So now we're on a single track. That's actually pretty nice. Pretty exciting as a kid too. Riding on a single track, it's it's rare in a big city to have a single track like this. And of course you have crossings and a train coming up. Let's see if we have a train coming our way. Maybe it's standing one of the other stations. That would be pretty nice detail to have. So we're just gonna coast down here. I've seen that sign that on a different track here. I've seen that sign that would tell me that we have to sound the horn. So let's see if it's coming up too. There we go. Really nice. I mean, for a game from 2001, like, there's some reflections on the glass. I guess they might be static. Those reflections, though, they might just be fixed. But it's a really nice looking train. Come on, like, it's one of the. It's really nice. I mean, also, I think just because I know them so well. This is really nice. I like this particular version of this train because it has a panoramic middle section. So let's see this coming through again. Here you see this panoramic middle section here. This would give you an extra good view of the scenery because the windows are a little bit taller than in the other section of the train, but there are also no doors in this section. So let's just pass through the station. Let's not stop in Etzenrot. Let's just sound the horn because it's fun to do. It's actually not a horn, it's just a bell. While we are running on this particular part of the section, which is not using different rules, we're actually not supposed to use the bell. We should be supposed to use the horn. Oh, what's the keyboard? What's the keyboard shortcut for horn? I had it. I think that's it. I think that's the horn, not the bell. Okay, so we just scooted past Etzenrod. Next is Fishwire, then we have 3 more stations all the way. So you also see that the last station actually had 2 tracks, so that's usually where trains will meet, then pass each other. So we didn't see another train yet. I mean, I think it would be really nice if this train would actually say where we're going, and it's just a static image imposed in here. I mean, of course it would also be nice to actually have someone sitting in the train. That's not happening right now, but it's really nice. I think that they got the aesthetics right overall for this particular train, and also this particular track. I think that though, like if you know this track in person, like it means more to you than if you just watch it here on stream. But you can see the little river running through here. That's the river that we pass along all the way down to Bad Herrenalp. That's why this is not a particular steep grade. It just goes along a little bit up to Bad Herrenalp eventually, which is a really nice station. I really think, I mean, it's really nice because we pass through it in kind of like a loop, and then we are in the Bad Herrenalp station. So it's pretty good. We're speeding a little bit here. Let's go. Let's make sure we apply a little bit of brakes. There's something coming up in 300 meters. What is it? It's a signal. Alright, so okay, so this signal here is green, as it should be in this scenario. You also see these are, if you remember, the signal looks different to the signal that we had inside in the city. So again, this is just because we're running on different rules. This is kind of a different rule set for signaling and any kind of braking behaviors, braking scenarios, passing. All these rules are different in this part of the track because it's an old track. And I think just historically they just keep these things the same as they've been before, instead of updating the track. So we are approaching what I think is Fishwire. Let's see. Can we make the stop right at the stop sign? Nah, we can't. Alright, we missed it again by a couple. Not too bad though. I think like the people getting off the train here at the front would have to get off the gravel. So let me see, is this Fishwire? Let's see, let's see if there's any sign. Oh, there's a sign. There we go. Wait, how do we get there? Yes, it is. It is Fishwire. There we are. That's where we are. It's not the right font though. Okay, that's a disappointment. Don't buy this stuff. But don't buy this DLC. Let's go ahead. Continue forward. We're almost there. 4 more stations, then we're in Bad Herrenalp. So let's continue. If I'm just applying 100% power here, we're getting a warning up there on the screen. It says wheel slip indicator. So if you apply too much power right in the beginning when you want to get off, if you want to get going, then the wheels of the train will actually slip, since they're metal on metal, steel on steel. There's not much friction going on, which is great for a train, but it also means that the wheels can't slip, which is of course horrible if you try to brake the train, which is why there's also a way to put sand on the tracks when you want to brake. Usually particularly useful in scenarios with ice and wet tracks, but also when you just hit the power to 100%, you will have wheels that slip, and of course that's not good for the wheels. It's also not good for any kind of, like, I mean, just imagine the same thing happening in a car. So you don't want that to happen in a train too. So I'm going to apply power a little bit more carefully before going to 100% right away. So we didn't yet pass a sign that would ask me to sound the horn. Maybe there aren't as many, but I remember, like, these train drivers, they just sound the horn all the time. Oh, we actually have some cars running up there. That's nice. So there's actually cars that are running on the parallel track. Here, there we are. Nice. Hello. Oh, that's fun. It's so these graphics are so, I mean, I guess like 20 years ago, it was still quite a scene. So we're overspeeding a little bit. Let's put a little bit less power on it. And we're approaching, I guess maybe Marcel, which again also is a really nice little stop before we get to our final stop. There we are. Gonna take the right track this time. And there we are. Okay, this is Marcel. And we're just going really slowly into the station. And can we stop in place? Almost. Again. How far are we away? Well, not too bad. That works. See, like the first door that opens still opens on the right track. So this is good. This is still, I guess, not okay if you follow the rules. Also, the next signal up there is interesting. Here, this signal is telling us that we can drive slowly. What does it say? Let me see. There is a manual with the particular signal types on this route, and that's, like, I'm really impressed with that amount of detail. Like getting the timetable in the manual, as well as having an explanation of all the signals, since there are so many different kinds of different times on this particular track. That's really nice. So this one shows me green and yellow, which usually means that you can proceed slowly, which means, in this case, it means 40 miles per hour, 40 kilometers per hour. That's fair. So let's do that. Let's try to keep it to 40. There's also a signal ahead of us that is blinking, and it's not explained here, but as far as I remember, see this signal here? I think it tells me that I'm good to go on this single line track. If this signal would not be blinking, I'm not sure what the rule is really, but I think the one that we saw that was just blinking constantly tells me that I'm okay to proceed on this single line track. But would be good to find out, I guess. So we go ahead, we make our way down to the third to last station. So I don't like the keyboard shortcuts. The keyboard shortcut to go faster is D, to go slower is A, which is, I always mix them up. Like, I have to get used to this, because interestingly, W and S is really to literally change the reverser of the train to go forward or backward, which you never change that you only change that occasionally, right? So when you constantly want to just give it more or less throttle, you have to use D and A, which is so confusing to me. I guess I should hold my keyboard like this. Like if I hold my keyboard orthogonally to me, it may make a little bit more sense, but it works still. I don't want to invest $200 for this nice kind of like input device that actually has a power throttle. That's too much. So this is nice. We're actually running right at the speed limit, 47, 48, 50. Let's make a little bit less throttle. I also really wish that they would have the station announcements. That would really add it to the realism. And it's, I mean, maybe licensing that why they couldn't do that, or maybe it's just too much data, too much sound to have every single station be announced. But that would be really nice too. So we're getting close. Let's just, for the sake of this, let's just make it through the next 2 stations without stopping. Let's just make this a service run down to Bad Herrenalp. Let's look at the nice scenery. There we are. You know what? Why don't we just go faster? I guess there is, like, oh, key commands. Slow down. This is interesting. I should have checked this before. I see if there is maybe a way to open your doors. External views. Passenger view. Number 5. Got that. Moving. We had the pantograph. That's the word. Pantograph. Braking. Well, we don't have a train brake on this one. Bell is B. Wipers, headlights. Oh, load, unload passengers. Numeric enter. Oh, that's a nice one. That's a nice keyboard shortcut. Okay, let's try that. Actually, so let's stop at the next stop. And let's actually so I was just trying some F keys and I hit F2, which I'm not sure what F2 is doing. I guess it's doing... Oh no. Oh no. It crashed. The game disappeared. It completely disappeared. Oh, what a shame. Well, that's it then though. Thanks for sticking with me. That was nice. Next time I want to try opening the doors on this particular cab and maybe drive a schedule. But that was a nice first test. Really nice to see this game running on a modern computer. Also, nice to see the good job that they did with that particular train. Alright, thanks for watching and see you around next time.